A Muskegon Heights officer was responding to a domestic violence call in November of last year, and upon arriving in the victim's home, allegedly asked for sexual favors.
And then he was just like, I see why your baby daddy beating you up. You must got some fire head. You must got some fire. And I'm like, what? He tried to make me suck his. I cannot get over that, bro. I'm traumatized. You a cop. You're supposed to be protecting and serving.
On November 28th at 2 a.m., a Muskegon Heights police officer was out and about on his beat when a drunk woman walks up to him named Shariana.
He was uncomfortable as I just said, hey, look, MSP's coming in, they're going to take the report from you. Oh, my God. All right, well, I'm going to go make sure MSP's coming in.
Make sure your car camera's
on immediately. I don't want to be involved in none of that.
Realizing that the state trooper will take longer to arrive than expected, the officer decides to drive Shariana home, where she will wait to give her full report.
When they arrive, she tells them a really disturbing case about an Officer Richard Wilson. 8 days earlier, she had made a 911 call because her father of her children, a gentleman named Amari Banks, who happens to be a prison guard, by the way, he ends up beating the crap out of her.
Hi, I need to make a police report for the message, and I need to report damage to my house. It just happened like 10 minutes ago. I was cleaning the blood off my head.
10 minutes later, Officer Richard Wilson arrived at Shariana's house.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on?
You can come in. My son's dad came over here to talk to me and ripped all the screens off my house. Did all this. Put his hands on me.
You did that?
Yes. Snatched my hair off. Broke my TV. All this. I just moved in here.
Richard Wilson ends up coming in, telling her that she deserves a lot better than that, and that would she like to press charges. She ends up saying yes. He ends up kind of being a shoulder that she can cry on, saying a lot of nice things, right? Letting her guard down, she actually asks him if he can feel one of these knots on her head.
If you could feel this knot right here. You feel that?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, that hurts.
See, that's what I'm saying. So, you sure you don't want to get medical attention? You don't deserve it. Just understand that you don't deserve it. So don't think that way, that this is what you have to settle for. You deserve more. You deserve respect.
Officer Wilson can be seen turning off his body cam.
Somewhere during this conversation, the officer ends up spilling some sort of drink. I believe it was a soda pop.
Shariana then makes a now ominous offhand joke about the soda she claims Amar spilled over her floor.
All right.
You got a mop?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He ends up leaving, urging her to, obviously press charges. But before he leaves, she ended up kind of having a change of heart, didn't really want to press charges after all.
I don't want to send him to jail. I don't want to do all of that.
He goes and supposedly interviews Amari. Come to find out that before he turned on his camera, he and Amari actually knew one another, and they were talking about how they could get Amari out of this trouble. He ends up returning to Shariana's house, he being Officer Wilson, and this is where it gets really kind of crazy. He ends up telling her that he brought back a mop, right? And the mop was, again, because earlier she had said, do you have a mop for me so I can, mop up this soda? And he basically ends up taking off his belt, pulling down his pants, whipping out his stuff, and asking her for oral sex. She ends up giving him oral sex, and she's very upset about it. And she's telling the cops this. They ask her to call Officer Wilson to see if they can get him to admit it.
With the troopers gathered around her, Shariana calls Officer Wilson.
Who gave you this number? This is not my work number.
I want to know if I'm going to get in any type of trouble.
Any type of trouble before what? I didn't do anything, so and you didn't do anything. So what are you talking about? I never told anybody anything because anything didn't happen. So I didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. Only thing my body camera would show was me interviewing you.
And so it's not going to show nothing else that happened. Right?
Nothing else happened. I left and I went and took my other calls.
You left. You left and you came back, right? Is they going to show that? What should I tell them if they ask me any questions?
What are you talking about? Like you tell them that I interviewed just like I did. I interviewed you and I left. You asked me to come back by to make sure he didn't come back, and I rolled back through that. He didn't come back by, and I went and interviewed him when I returned back to work.
Can you get in trouble for giving a police officer at all? Period. You know, he got a feeling.
You're doing a great job.
They end up going through an investigation back and forth. They end up checking this guy's camera, and she even says, look, when he was over here, he actually shut off his body camera. After the investigation, it ends up looking like her story is true. And what's so disappointing is at the very end, it looks like the only thing that's going to happen is Officer Wilson's going to get a $300 fine.
In the course of this case, one of the things that was non-negotiable for me was that this officer was going to surrender his ability to be a police officer forever.
Now, former Muskegon Heights officer Richard Wilson pleaded no contest this week to neglect of duty, a misdemeanor. A felony charge of misconduct in office was dismissed. Wilson didn't receive jail time or probation. He was ordered to pay a $300 fine and agreed to surrender his law enforcement license.
We did not take a position on sentence and left that to the discretion of the court. The court made its determination as it relates to no jail and no probation, but certainly that was not part of any agreement on our part.
Did she do the right thing? Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it. If she would have called the cops right then and there, who knows what this guy would have done to her? Would he have beaten her? Would he have killed her? Who knows? I don't think it would have gone down very good. With that being said, they need to create new laws where police officers cannot touch their body cams. That seems like a given, by the way, doesn't it? Every time a criminal or suspected criminal mentions anything about the body cam, and then you find out the police officer turned off his body cam, that should be an automatic guilty on the officer. And if you turn it off once or twice, you should get maybe one warning. After that, you should be terminated. I don't see any valid reason whatsoever to turn off those body cams. What do you guys think? I hate the word baby daddy. That's not how people talk. I think that's the problem with today's culture. You start watching videos, right? And you start watching nothing but these videos, and before you know it, instead of saying, hey, the father of your children, you're talking about baby daddies, and it's irritating. Amari Banks is the baby daddy. Here's the scary thing, though. If he's a prison guard, right, for the Michigan Department of Corrections, and if Officer Wilson is an actual policeman that goes out to serve and protect the public, and they themselves are actually horrible, abusive people, why the hell are they cops? Why are they in control and responsible for certain people? I think they should be in the jail themselves. Absolute scoundrels. It seems like we let a lot of people that have really questionable characters, we allow them to keep their job. Maybe it should be challenging to be a policeman. And maybe it should be even more challenging to remain a policeman when you do stuff like this. I feel like if you get policemen that actually have, a record, that should disqualify you from the force, in my opinion. Oh my God, this is definitely going to be the worst video ever. It seems like the harder I try, the tougher this thing gets. You figure after 500-600 days, I'd be a natural at it, but brah, I'm really horrible at this. There is no getting better. See, this is the thing they don't tell you when you're in your 20s and 30s. that when you get into your 40s and 50s, you might think you know everything there is to know about everything. But the reality is we degrade as we get older. I have a feeling I would be twice as good at this YouTube junk if I was a little bit younger. My goodness, my age just makes it where I can't remember shit, can't talk half the time. You try doing a YouTube channel when you can't put together a damn sentence. Trying to read my handwriting looks god awful. Holy shizovsky. How the hell am I ever supposed to get this channel off the ground? I used to get comments on my videos like, oh my God, Jesse, you really motivate me. I've been walking and drinking water. Keep up the good work, right? Now I get comments that say, you know, hey, if you're too busy and you're not enjoying your show, take a day off. How sad is that? There's always a progression in life. You're either going forward, down, or you're just barely treading water. This channel is really about treading water at its highest level. This is how you tread water. That one sister says cops shouldn't be able to control their body cams. One sister, I agree with you. It seems to me like that should have never been an option. They should have made those things designed to just run for 10 straight hours or however long their beat or their shift is. And then at the end of that 10 hours, they should have that videotape analyzed by artificial intelligence. Right there's another situation where instead of having all this body cam footage that takes months and months for the courts to actually investigate, why don't we just have it where it's automatically downloaded? And if artificial intelligence feels like it picks up any red flags, that could immediately go to whoever polices the police themselves. See, we're always talking about artificial intelligence replacing all of our jobs. Why don't we use artificial intelligence where it can make some immediate impact? I don't think there's enough eyeballs to watch 24 hours of policeman footage every day. But artificial intelligence can do 24 hours worth of footage in probably 2 or 3 seconds. Well, maybe not that fast, but you know what I mean. They could definitely analyze the video, and then all it does is when it picks up a red flag, you know, like a policeman asking for head, it could then send an email to the supervisor for a human review. That seems to me like a great way to incorporate artificial intelligence, and I bet it's something they can already do if they're not doing it already. By the way, I weighed myself. I forgot to put it on the video yesterday, but basically it came out to 198. So even when I'm barely eating, avoiding sugar, doing everything, even then you still get plateaus. Why do I mention this? Because everything in the world is designed to make you quit the stuff you're supposed to do, and it resigns you to doing the stuff that you shouldn't do. So the reason you should keep moving on when shit doesn't go your way is because what are you going to do? Quit? Holy moly. Accept the bitter truth that things don't always go our way. Put your shoes on, get outside. Who cares if the scale tells you something you want to hear or not? Tasha says, so basically these two dudes can do whatever they want with zero consequences and then pay a $300 fine? That is absolutely sick. Tasha, it is absolutely sick, especially when you consider that he ended up getting head out of the deal. I think he should be fined, and he should probably end up having to do a little jail time. I mean, isn't that basically prostitution, whether there's money or not involved? I mean, that sounds to me like your officer is guilty of harassment or something. Red Guard says, damn, her baby daddy is a prison guard. He's beating her and destroying up her property and home. And then the police department comes over and assaults her. Really great people we're picking for the police force. Well, here's one of those things where we could easily say, hey, we made a mistake. Let's actually not make 2 mistakes by giving him a $300 fine and letting him keep his job. Let's get him out of the line of duty he's in, and let's make him actually pay for his wrongdoing. And the reason they should do that is because look at the can of worms this guy's opened up. Do we honestly think that Shariana is his first victim? He's probably been doing this regularly. And if he does do this regularly, oh my God, somebody should be checking his police cam all the time. There was a police officer that was taking people to the park and making love in the back of his patrol vehicle. We shared that video here on this show. That's one of those guys where if he would have had his police cam, artificial intelligence would have noticed that he was doing horrible stuff with prostitutes in the back of the car. Not if, but when says, so he turns off the camera, he left his DNA. Look what a pretty kitty. Look at the beautiful eyes on this orange cat. Practically golden. How are you? Come say hi. Let me see your eyes. Let me see your eyes. What a chill cat. Very pretty eyes. He had like eyes that matched his orangish coat. I've never seen eyes that orange before. So anyway, he turns off his cam. He leaves his DNA. By the way, you know how they caught him? She ended up wiping her mouth with a napkin and throwing it in the trash. Her clothing, he had touched it and stuff. They were able to take off his DNA. So when the detectives were asking Officer Richard Wilson, what's the deal? Did this happen? He obviously denied it, but they had the DNA to prove that he was lying. And then they still just gave him a $300 fine. It is absolutely sick. He is not safe to have power over anybody. This is unacceptable. That's the scary part, isn't it? Somewhere, each and every day, he probably has an opportunity or two to do something scandalous with a young, pretty lady out there in Michigan. And it would be really interesting to see if any women end up coming forward. I think whenever this happens, they should put commercials up and they should put public service announcements on the news saying, hey, if this creep did anything to you that was, you know, a little left, make sure you call the police and let them know what happened. I think that's what happens all the time. You get these people that they don't really want to report what happened to them. They just want to go on with their lives. But, you know, we need to change that, because when you just kind of put your head down and go on with your life, there's going to be other victims. So do we blame the victim? Of course not. But at the same time, if you don't stand up to evil, it's going to flourish. I think that's the moral of the story when it comes to America. I think the more and more we move forward, we're kind of letting evil flourish around every turn. I just want to tell you guys that my game plan is to lose a lot of weight, and I'm going to be doing it quickly here. I have been doing a lot of push-ups and sit-ups. I've been drinking water. I've been avoiding sugar. I've been stopping eating at 7. And if any of you guys want to take this challenge on with me, please let me know. Is it easy? Not the first couple days, but once you get a couple of weeks under your belt, it gets easier and easier. So, as a team, let's all lose as much weight as we can. And who knows, maybe as a team we'll lose a couple 1,000 pounds. But you got to put your shoes on and join me. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And go get yourself a new pair of shoes. We can always start tomorrow. Have a good day. I'll see you then.